Hello, welcome back to Crush'em TV. And please remember to hit like and subscribe if you enjoy the discussions and what you hear going on here. Well, Chelsea Clinton opened up her big mouth and said something stupid yet again. Here we go. Oh, she is just full of so many stupid comments. So what she did today, she's trying to make a point about the Confederate statue removal. She decides to compare it to Satan and God. She says the story of Lucifer, who rebelled against God, is part of many Christians' traditions. I've never been in a church with a Lucifer statue. Yeah, just think about that a little bit and let that sink in. Especially if you're religious and you actually know a lot about these things. First off, I told her, you are comparing the federal government to an all-righteous God and half the country's population's relatives to Satan. You are not fit to lead. I mean, here she is thinking she's being so smart. And, I mean, because if Lucifer were the Confederates, they were rebelling against the federal government, which would make the federal government God. And in no case should you in any way think of the federal government in a godlike way of having that kind of authority, moral power, anything. I mean, I love our government, I love my country, but we all know they fuck up constantly. They've been in wars that they shouldn't have been in. The CIA's done things they shouldn't have. Our government's not perfect. I love them. You know, I defend the Constitution and the flag and, the president and everything to my death. But at the same time, they are not perfect, and it is ridiculous to make a statement like what she did, which puts them in a godlike place. That is just an insane idea. Let alone the fact, if you are religious, you know that, in fact, they do have pictures of Lucifer. They have paintings of Lucifer. Not in a worshipful way. I mean, you don't like put a statue of him up there and worship him, but nobody does that with the Confederate statue. The Confederate statues are monuments to commemorate an event, and in church they do have pictures containing Lucifer, and in Catholic and Orthodox churches and in some other Protestant churches they do have statues that contain Satan or angels or demons even, and it's always like a commemorative event type thing. To pretend that an image or a commemoration of an event involving what you consider to be a bad influence is non-existent in the church is ridiculous. And if anything, it actually shows you just how little about anything of faith that girl knows. I don't know if she goes to church. If she does, I don't know what kind of frickin' church it is if they're not, teaching anything at all about, what happened with the conflict. And in order to illustrate that conflict in pictures, you, of course, have to show them. Anyway, I did kind of get going on this Twitter feed and popped out a couple zingers at her. I told her that her statement would have been a better illustration of why her father and mother don't have statues in churches. Which is true. With the stuff they've done, Hillary's gotten people murdered, lying under oath, taking money from terrorist countries, father getting BJs in the White House. I mean, that family is horrible, her statement also would be a better argument for why to keep the Confederate statues, as churches for 2,000 years have had statues and pictures commemorating the events that took place. I mean, they don't put those images up to worship them or to say, hey, he's a great thing. It's a memory. It is a commemoration of the event, which is the way in which those things were put up. You know, they put them up to honor their ancestors, to honor their fallen dead. You know, yeah, they weren't perfect, but you don't want to forget history. It is a reminder of where we came from, so that you don't go back and repeat the same mistakes. You take all those images and all those reminders away, you go into dangerous territory. Which is why ISIS does it, why the Taliban does it. You know, so that they can rewrite and mess things up. And now you have Antifa and the Democrats wanting to do the same thing. So I also told her, actually, churches do have Lucifer statues and pics. Not in a worshipful way again, but showing events to commemorate him, which destroys her illusion in her statement. You know, that it was a bad thing. And I also pointed out to her, your mom's hero Alinsky dedicated his book to Lucifer, by the way. He held him up as a great model example. How's that foot tasting? She put her foot right in her mouth with that one. She kind of forgot that old mama idolizes a man who dedicated his book to Lucifer. Let that sink in. That kid's not too bright, is she? And she actually thinks she's going to run for government? Oh my God, if people vote for her, they're total fucking idiots. And then Tucker Carlson and Mark Stein came up with a good one here. In regards to her little tweet there. They say if the Confederacy is Lucifer, the church is the Democratic Party. And that is the reason for that statement, is that the Confederacy were the Democrats. The entire South that seceded, on basis of state rights and also slavery, they wanted to keep slavery. They did not vote for the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. The Democrats were not in support of those, and 13, 14, and 15 are all the ones that give blacks rights. Gave them the right to vote. One of them took away a bad court case that was not in favor of equality for blacks. Democrats didn't vote for those things. The Confederacy arose out of the Democrats in the South. So if the Confederates are Lucifer, Chelsea, the church is the Democratic Party. And that's 100% true. On that, she's right. I don't agree with her saying that those Confederate statues are like Lucifer. But if Lucifer has a home, it's the Democrats. By her logic. So anyways, remember to hit like and subscribe. And stand up. Stand up for equality. Stand up for everybody's rights. Not just the majority, not just the minority. Stand up for everybody. You guys have a good day. Take care and